I am such an awesome guy. I make so many videos.
Hello there, Price of Reason here with a movie review. As we all know, over the past decade, the management of the DC brand under Warner Brothers has been abysmal. Some of it has to do with the fact that they went through multiple corporate regimes during this time, including a merger/takeover in 2022. But even so, nothing can really excuse some of the poor decision-making we've seen over the years. Even since the arrival of current CEO David Zaslav and the appointment of Peter Safran and James Gunn as co-CEOs of DC Studios, it's hard to fully understand what they're doing, why they're doing it, and how it'll all turn out. One thing's for sure though, ever since James Gunn announced his plan for the future of his DCU, movies left over from the previous regime have effectively become lame ducks that most people aren't interested in, and it's hard to think of a movie that fits that bill more than Blue Beetle. A more obscure DC character in a movie that will likely have no impact on anything we see moving forward. Couple that with an arrogant director that seems to have chased away customers for no apparent reason, and the Access Media's annoying agenda peddling, and it's no wonder that box office tracking predicts Blue Beetle flopping harder than Shazam 2, another lame duck movie that nobody cared about. Still, this movie has always had one thing going for it. Xolo Maridueña, who plays the main character, is a likable actor that people know as Miguel from Cobra Kai, and if nothing else, I at least had hoped that perhaps he could do enough to make this movie at least watchable. Unfortunately, I've seen Blue Beetle, and the only word I can think of to describe it is awful. It's a movie that not only annoyed me while I was watching it, but also left me frustrated with its many issues. In this video, I will go over the plot of the movie and then I'll tell you what I didn't like about it. And yes, there will be spoilers here in this video, although I consider them more favors than spoilers because once you hear them, you'll probably thank me and then skip this movie. So in a way, here at Price of Reason Studios, we're not only giving you reviews, but we're also helping you save money. And if you enjoy what we do here, make sure to like and subscribe. Anyhow, let's go over the plot. Jaime Reyes is a recent college grad living in Miami, but he can't seem to find his place in the world. His father is sick, his family is poor, and nobody will hire him. After finding a job working as a type of servant for a sinister Karen businesswoman called Victoria Cord, Jaime gets fired after sticking up for her niece, Jenny, who she argues with. The niece then tells Jaime that she'll find him another job at the family company, and then he schedules an interview to meet with her at their corporate offices. As luck would have it, on the day he goes to meet with her, she gives him a secret artifact and tells him to get lost. It turns out that this artifact is a blue scarab that her evil aunt wants to use to develop super soldiers that will do bad things. Jaime then becomes symbiotically linked with the scarab, and this gives him a technologically advanced blue battlesuit that's merged with his DNA, effectively turning him into the superhero Blue Beetle. Jaime then finds Jenny and tells her what happened, but now both of them and his entire family are in danger because the evil aunt has deployed troops to capture him and his family. While trying to protect them, Jaime is then captured and his father dies, so Jenny, his mother, his sister, his grandmother, and his uncle decide they're going to save him by flying a Beetle aircraft to the place that he's being held and then taking out commando soldiers themselves. At the end, Jaime is freed, and just when it seems like he's going to battle the main bad guy that works for the evil Aunt Karen lady, the bad guy himself has a change of heart and then he destroys her instead. At this point, Jenny says that she will use the money that she has to help Jaime's family and his community, and then they both apparently also end up together, and then the movie ends. Now, it may not be clear from the plot summary. In my honest opinion, this movie has a dumpster fire of a screenplay, and it feels like it was written by a bunch of hacks that don't know the first thing about writing. In this movie, things just happen in a way that's beyond convenient, and they defy all logic, even for this genre. Almost everything we see on screen feels so contrived. Just a few examples. When Jaime and Jenny decide to break into the office of her evil aunt but don't know how they will get through security, Jaime's uncle George Lopez remembers that he once built a machine that can disable all of the building's surveillance equipment with the push of a button. In another part of the movie, George Lopez also knows how to fly a Beetle aircraft when needed, although it's not really clear how. Or when Jaime is captured, his elderly grandmother picks up a weapon and single-handedly wipes out an entire commando unit. And honestly, I'm just scratching the surface here. Scenes exist in this movie because something needs to happen in them, but the way they connect with each other and how the story folds is very poorly done. And for some reason, even though Jaime is supposed to be this superhero, in this movie he never really does anything. Most of the movie is focused on his annoying family that appear in almost every scene for no apparent reason. We never really get to spend time with the character, get to know him or see him in action doing anything worthwhile. Making matters worse, in the third act of his own movie, he's basically a damsel in distress, and his family needs to save him. In fact, you could probably remove his character from the movie entirely and it probably wouldn't make much of a difference. But the screenplay issues don't end there, which brings me to my next point. Messaging. It's been a while since I've seen a superhero movie with so much blunt, heavy-handed messaging. Now, I understand that Blue Beetle is supposed to be Hispanic and that his family is Mexican, but that doesn't mean this whole movie has to lean into his identity so aggressively. There's absolutely no nuance here, as this movie keeps shoving propaganda down viewers' throats to a point where it becomes basically unwatchable. Every moment the movie can, it makes sure to point out how Jaime and his family are victims, how they're miserable, how everybody treats them bad because of where they came from. People discriminate against him and against them, and of course, they dislike the US government. They complain how they're being locked up, how unfortunate they are, but considering that they're supposed to be living in 2023 Miami, much of this simply doesn't ring true when you take into consideration what a large Hispanic community it has. And let me be clear here, not only do I not have any issues with the casting of Xolo Maridueña as Blue Beetle, I actually think that he was perfectly cast in this role. He's very likable and genuinely good here, but for some reason, the writers decided to sideline him in his own movie. Instead of talking about his ethnicity every 2 seconds in the movie, it would have been much more respectful towards this actor if they just let viewers connect with him organically through good storytelling. But the people writing this movie don't care about telling a story. They don't care about this cast. They don't care about the character. They only care about spreading the messaging that they want, and really nothing else matters to them, at least in my opinion. And you know what? If Blue Beetle ends up being a massive failure, these activists/writers will 100% deserve it, and if they're never given another opportunity to write a big-budget movie, or any movie for that matter, I'll be perfectly fine with that. It's a type of break that most writers can only dream about, and if they want to use IPs they didn't create as a platform for their own personal politics, then I don't have any sympathy for them. Now, I suppose I could go on for another few hours about what I didn't like about this movie, but honestly, I just don't think it's really worth my time or yours. Blue Beetle represents everything that's wrong with Hollywood today, and if it doesn't start learning some lessons soon from all of these failures, then it just may never recover from the deteriorating state that it's in right now. It's just a shame that so many IPs and franchises keep getting hijacked by a bunch of talentless losers that bring nothing to the table aside from their arrogance. So no, I do not recommend Blue Beetle. In some ways, it may be worse than the Flash movie, which in and of itself was also a disaster. The only person I feel bad for here is Xolo Maridueña. He's generally a well-liked actor, and you could tell that he was excited about getting to lead a big-budget movie, but at no fault of his own, due to this movie's expected failure, he may not ever get another chance like this, which in my opinion is a shame. What did you think of Blue Beetle? Did you also think it was Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel, and also clicking on that wonderful notification bell. Thanks for watching, my friends. Thank you, and good day.
I am such an awesome guy. I make so many videos. Brum.